welcome to Talk a Good Game. It's a match preview of West Ham United against Fulham. Gonzo, may you kick us off with your thoughts on the Cottagers, please?
Yeah, I think it's another decent season for them. Lots of games to go, and they're safe. They got nearly 40 points, which I think is really good for them. You know, you've got to look at where they came from. They had a summer of turmoil. I think the Saudi Pro League were trying to pillage them for their manager and their players, and the manager was convinced to stay. Lost their top goal scorer, managed to keep hold of Polina for the time being. So I think they've done really well, Geo, actually. It has to be said, as I've said on numerous occasions, I do feel the owner can't purchase the club with a view to moving them to Wembley and then moving the, whether it is the Jacksonville Jaguars, wherever it might be, to have a gridiron team there and to have Fulham there by Wembley. And I think that was the whole point. So I think when that didn't happen, there's a lessening of his ambition. Not that it would matter now anyway, because you couldn't, even if he had wanted to spend loads of money, he couldn't spend loads of money now anyway. So I think actually what Fulham might be, funny enough, is indicative of any of these clubs now of a similar size, who now, because of financial fair play, they are just there for the fans to have a day out and to enjoy themselves and go to the games and then just exist. There's nothing else for them. I'm really sorry to say. Even if you do get a rich owner, you're not overly progressing from where you are. And I think that more is the shame. More's the shame. So what Fulham need to do is stay in the Premier League, basically, because we've seen what happens and the disparity between the Championship and the clubs that try and get promoted. So I think, Fulham have done a really good job. Stay where they are. Good manager, and they've got some good players.
I think success is all relative. It always all depends on what your club's ambitions and aims are. Given you take everything into factor, how long have you been in the Premier League, how much have you spent, what players have. Like you said, the start of the season, they tried to get Marco Silva, didn't manage it somehow. Still, credit to him for turning down that obscene amount of money to not go there and cash in on that opportunity and stay with Fulham. I thought he'd be gone, truth be told. Mitrovic obviously went, and they've suffered because of that. They have struggled for goals until recently. Raul Jimenez wasn't working as a striker, and you did think that perhaps they would struggle, but I think staying away from the relegation battle, which is what they've done all season, is a success, all things considered, at Fulham. And obviously, they're revamping Craven Cottage to make it jazzier. They've got a big new stand now on the Thames, and they're trying to build the infrastructure around that and to improve Craven Cottage and make it a better place for Fulham fans to visit as well. But while they're doing that off the pitch, on the pitch, I've watched quite a bit of Fulham this season. Thoroughly enjoyed some games, including them smashing Spurs a few weeks ago. But there have been other games where it's a bit of a timid, drab affair, where the football isn't that exciting. It is a little bit dull. But I think you can apply that to any team in the Premier League. There's very few teams in the Premier League where I can watch consistently or a large period of time throughout the season and not get a bit bored on a few occasions watching them. But Fulham very much fit into that category.
And so do West Ham, definitely.
We definitely, yeah, before Fulham fans says, oh, what about, wait.
I will send you to sleep. Sorry about that.
But I do think Fulham are a little bit Jekyll and Hyde. I think at Craven Cottage, I think they a bit more expansive. The football's a bit better, a bit more entertaining. Whereas away from Craven Cottage, I'm not very impressed with them, truth be told. I think the results sort of suggest that as well. I don't think they're that great away from home. But they've tackled that goal-scoring issue recently, and I think Marco Silva's done a really good job there, actually. It's just, I don't know where they go from here. For the reasons you've stated with PSR and their restrictions, and I know they've had some issues regarding sort of season tickets at Fulham and some of the fans being unhappy regarding the pricing, which is a common theme throughout every Premier League club. It feels like this summer. It feels like every Premier League club are hiking their prices up and changing the way that concessions work and so on and so forth. And Fulham are no different. I read about it months ago. It was a while ago. I say months ago. It was a while ago. I was reading about sort of their protests regarding it, and it's something I should probably know more about. But I will be speaking to a Fulham fan, so that'll be on the channel tomorrow, and I'll get his thoughts on it. I'd rather hear from him rather than me do sort of incorrect research on it. But yeah, I think Silva's done a really good job there, actually. Have you been impressed with Marco?
Oh, I like him. Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. But you might remember this, Joe. I liked him a long time ago. I liked
Yeah.
him at Hull. I like this manager. I do. I'd like the cut of his jib, actually. So, yeah. It's been nice to see him come back because sometimes you just don't know, right? And sometimes a club is just a poison chalice. And it's why at the moment, I don't really pay too much attention to anyone that's struggling at Chelsea. Because I think it's a bit of a basket case of a club, and I think they probably have good players there, and there's probably good people in and around the club, but I don't pay too much attention. And I think you can say the same with Everton. I think Everton have been on a spiral for a long, long time now, and I think
Since
Ancelotti,
when?
pardon,
Since when?
a long time. Ancelotti going in there arrested the slide.
You were meant to say when since Moyes left. I was teeing you up for.
Oh,
Never
sorry.
mind.
Is that, yeah, well. Anyway, funny you should say that. They so my friend Tony, hello Tony, no, not that Tony. So we got West Ham Tony, the recently crushed West Ham Tony. Sorry, Tony, and then we got Everton Tony. And I'll tell you what, he wouldn't mind David Moyes back. But anyway, I digress.
Evertoni.
Everton Tony, yeah, Everton.
No, just Evertoni.
Evertonian. Yeah, there you go, Tony. So yeah, I like Silva. So I think they were a bit of a basket case of a club, Everton. I think that possibly wasn't truly reflective of his talents, and I think you're seeing it there now. And I think, well, it's going to be an interesting one, isn't it? Because look at what they did to us earlier this season. So it's going to be an interesting one for David Moyes, how he tries to deal with things tactically against Marco Silva, because Silva will certainly think he's got David Moyes' number. He bloody should do, at least.
Do you think Fulham might struggle to keep a hold of him? I know they've fended off the interest from abroad, but I think you can maybe put that down to the fact that Marco Silva, unlike some, has morals and doesn't wish to compromise on those to chase the check. And he stayed for maybe not footballing reasons, but moral reasons. He decided, I'm not going over there because I don't agree with the politics and that. I'm going to stay here where I am at Fulham. But if there was a question of ambition or football rather than money, do you think Fulham may struggle to keep him?
Look, I don't know. Look, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know what was said there. What I do always factor in when I think about footballers and I think about managers. I mean, he looks. I don't know how old he is. He looks like a young man. He just probably looks youthful. Do you know what I mean? He sort of seems to look the same for the last 10 years. Bastard. But I do wonder if family plays a part, and maybe you can have all this riches. If you're already a millionaire, which undoubtedly is, are you really willing to up the whole upheaval of your family? I spoke to Dean Ashton about this when we did our patron thing with him as well. And I'm always interested to speak to footballers about that decision. It's not something we ever factor in. And whilst I think it's one thing taking your family, well, he's Portuguese anyway. So it's one thing for him taking your family around Europe. And of course, they're all, culturally, they're a different place in Europe, and England's going to be different to France and Portugal to Spain. But I do think, to take your whole family what would seem like the other side of the world, and that's what it would seem like that. I do wonder if that played a part as well. He's got an £8.4 million buyout clause. And funny out, the only other manager I know at the moment that has a buyout clause is Ruben Amorim. So maybe it's a Portuguese's thing. But I think that's going to stop most people from coming in, and I think it's a wise thing to do. Someone's going to have to pay that. It's there. It's stipulated as a contract. He just can't walk out, can he? So he will always find a club, Marco Silva, and there will always be clubs that want him.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting if sort of a club with more to offer come knocking for the reasons we've already sort of covered in regards to Fulham. However, sometimes people are at the right club. Sometimes you just look at a manager or a player and you think, you've got it good there. You've got it good. You possibly won't be under any pressure in terms of losing your job or your position. And sometimes the grass isn't always greener. And he's been around. He's had a few different clubs where he's not fitted into. And he's got somewhere now where actually it just seems like the right fit. And I don't know if he would be afforded the same, I don't know if leeway is the right word, but at other clubs, more ambitious clubs, where it's more demanding and greater expectations. We need it now. That what you get away with at Fulham, because their away record is they've won 2 games away from home all season.
Sure.
One of them was on the opening day away to Everton. So in the last 16 away games, they've won once. That wouldn't be acceptable at a club competing for European football. It just wouldn't be. For contrast, West Ham, believe it or not, are 7th in their away table in the Premier League, and we're deemed to be having a pretty miserable season. And I just think sometimes some managers are good where they are, and I just wonder if Fulham is good for Marco Silva, is as good as Marco Silva is for Fulham. Actually, it feels like the right fit, and I just think maybe it'd be better off just staying there and trying to build on what he's already got, because there's a good team there. There is a good team, and I think he gets the most out of some of these players as well. And with that in mind, Gonzo, can I get the players you admire from Fulham, please?
Yeah, well, I don't watch much of them, so I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But when I've seen that Muniz, looks all right, doesn't he? I know maybe he didn't start off so well. I mean, it's tough to assess them without thinking. I mean, you mentioned Jimenez earlier, and it's hard to think of them without thinking about them absolutely slaughtering us. I thought Anthony Robinson. He's got better. He's got better under Silva, no doubt about it. I actually thought he was a little bit limited as a footballer, just a speed merchant. But I do think that he's brought other things out of his game. Actually, Silva, he looks better. And I'll leave the midfielder to you. But what I do find is a miracle is William. I don't think there are too many other people that were gone and bought him. I was surprised when Arsenal got him. I thought he was a little bit too old then. And I don't know how old he is, like 80 or something now, but he still looks okay. And actually, any time I see them play, and because I always think about Fulham because we're the second oldest squad in the Premier League, they got the oldest one. And I always sort of complain about us, but then every so often I'll see William there. I think, you know what? But I guess that's all right. If you've got the legs of Robinson behind you, then you're probably all right doing that. But yeah, they got some half decent players.
Yeah, I think he's a sort of a purple patch for him, isn't he? I think sometimes he plays well, then he'll not play so well for a few games and come back. And you always feel he'll come back. And I'll put Pereira in there, not so much Harry Wilson. I will be started off really well. Perhaps going to not been quite as good recently, but he started off brightly at Fulham anyway. Polina is still mustard though, isn't he? You know, we were linked heavily to him, understandably why. Other clubs such as Liverpool were too, and I think Fulham did well to keep a hold of him. But at the same time, I like how Fulham approached it. They basically said, you can have him, he's 80 million, come get him. Yeah. Does anyone want him? He's 80 million. We're not going to stand in his way, but you're going to have to pay the big bucks. And I like that attitude. I like that approach. And it scared everybody off. Everybody went, he's not worth it. Well, first of all, it was like 50 million, and clubs went, oh, is he? Okay, and then they went, actually, 80 million then. We're going to put him up to 80 million. His price rose as teams were interested at 50 million. Also, when they discovered West Ham were getting 100 million for Rice, well, we'll have more of that, thank you very much. You can keep 20 of it, but we'll have the rest. So I think the way they went about the Polina thing in the summer was brilliant for Fulham, and I think he's continued his fantastic form. And I wouldn't say justified an £80 million price tag, but what he has done is justify Fulham slapping an £80 million price tag on him, because we've always had this argument with Arsenal fans, which is that is what he's worth to Fulham. Yeah. He might not be worth 80 million to West Ham. They don't care. That's what he's worth to his club. Yeah. I think Robinson's had a good season, as you said, and I think I've always been impressed by the redemption of somebody that may end up at West Ham next season, and I hope he does, is Tosin Adebayo. Looked sort of out of it because he's always had a bit of a contract standoff at Fulham, and he's sort of been in and out the team, and he's preferred other centre-backs to him, such as Tim Ream. But he's gone back into the team and at the expense of Issa Diop, and he's remained in the team. And I quite like him, and I quite like the Tosin and Calvin Bassey partnership. Someone who's not been as good as I thought he would, Calvin Bassey, not at Fulham, but he's moved to Ajax as well. I keep waiting for him to get really good. But I've been impressed by Adebayo, and I think he's somebody that I certainly wouldn't mind should he rock up at West Ham next season. Somebody I quite want, actually, given his contract situation at Fulham. Anyway, shall we leave it about Fulham and talk about West Ham?
I think so, mate.
Well, let's kick it off with a little bit of team news, and there's quite a bit to get through. There's a big question mark over Calvin Phillips. According to David Moyes, he kicked somebody in training and hurt his own hamstring.
It's wonderful. It's like when Tyson Fury punched himself in a boxing match.
And I'm not even making it up. That is, Moyes said he kicked the back of someone's leg and felt his hamstring. So Calvin Phillips didn't travel to Germany and has a question mark over this game. Alphonse Areola is still to return to action as well, so we're unsure we've got him. Konstantinos Mavropanos went off injured against Leverkusen on Thursday. However, I feel like it was a bit of a precaution, and you can include him for the preview, Gonzo. Edson Alvarez is back through. That's all his suspensions concluded for now. So for now, Edson Alvarez is available for the remainder of the season, but it looks unlikely that we'll have Jarrod Bowen for this one. So you're not allowed Jarrod Bowen for the preview, Gonzo.
Okay.
But you can have Calvin Phillips if you want. You can have Alvarez, and you can have Areola to make it spicy. I don't think Areola will be back, but I want to know which keeper you would go with, even if Areola was available. Capiche?
Yeah, I can work within those parameters.
Right. Well, let's crack on then. Can I get your goalkeeper in back four, please? Or back three?
Yeah. So Anang in goal. And so I'll have Areola in goal. It will be a back four. I am really concerned about fatigue levels now. That's a long old journey. It's exactly the same distance as it always was to Germany, but for it to happen on a Thursday and then to come back and us to play Sunday at 2:00 kickoff, I think Sunday. So I would be slightly concerned about fatigue levels. We're absolutely rinsing those players. They're getting little or no rest. What was first up? Was 80 odd minutes first substitution yesterday again? Was it something like that? Can't remember. I was drunk, but it was something like that. I'm pretty sure. I think
I could have got away with anything there. Should have said, no, he did one in the 54th. Do you not remember it?
I would have held my hands. I would have said, no, not really. Anyway, yeah, so just bear that in mind with my team here. We're not going to keep getting away with this, so people need to be rested. So I'm going with Johnson right back. I'm going Mavropanos, Neifegerd, and Emerson as my back four.
Yeah, I mean, there's two players you might as well include for this one, which is Paqueta and Emerson. Given that they're suspended for the game against Leverkusen, there's no point resting them up. So I would continue with Fabianski in goal, because I think even if Areola's back, Fabianski will play against Leverkusen. I think he was good in Germany as well. So it's almost just for momentum, for confidence, for that relationship with his defence. I would keep Fabianski in. I think he's in good form at the minute. I'd say rest Areola, not really. If he's available, put him on the bench, certainly. But I don't think there's any use risking and rushing Areola back when actually you've got an informed Fabianski at the minute who will be playing against Leverkusen on Thursday. Everything, I guess, what myself and Gonzo are doing with our team selection has one eye on that game on Thursday, and you're working backwards a little bit here.
Yeah.
Similar back four to you, just the one difference. Ben Johnson at right back for me, and it's about rest.
I put Johnson in there.
Yeah, I know. Oh. That's not the different one.
Good. Okay, sorry.
I thought you were sober now.
Ben
Johnson right back. So A, Sufal gets rest, but B, Ben Johnson's going to be required on Thursday. So let's get some minutes into his legs. Let's get him some game time, give him some momentum going into next week, because I think when he came on last night, I thought he looked very erratic and enthusiastic and energetic, which was good. But at that point, we needed calm and composure. Sure. We needed to keep our heads and see out a 1-0 loss and get back to London with it.
That's the spirit.
But I think he was contributed to the second goal by giving away that free kick on the edge of the area for the fellow in Xhaka. So Johnson in, Mavropanos stays in. I would keep Zuma in. Risky, but I think he's playing bloody well at the minute. And weirdly, he's got better playing twice a week than he was playing once a week. I don't know how. He looks more mobile now. I don't know if Phillips has kicked him and he's got better, but something's happened. So I'm keeping Zuma in, and that's my difference to you and Emerson at left back. Now moving into midfield.
I'm going to rest Thomas Souček because I'm sure he can't go on. Some heroics clearing off the line and whatnot, but he can't carry on like this. He just barely ever gets a rest. I know we say this, and he's probably all right. But I don't want to see James Ward-Prowse either. Phillips kicking business kicked someone. It wasn't Anthony Gordon. That's the second person he's kicked. Although we'd all like to kick Anthony Gordon, to be fair, wouldn't we? Probably Everton Tony would want to kick Anthony Gordon as well, wouldn't you, Tony?
He would do.
I'm going with Orford next to Alvarez, and I'm selecting a Lucas Paquetá, and I want a bit of Lucas Paquetá. I don't want Leverkusen Paqueta, thank you. I want a bit of Paquetá in there for this game as the number 10.
Obviously, Edson Alvarez comes in, like, no doubt about it. First name on the team sheet. We need a little bit of spice. This is still an important game. We'll get on to the magnitude of this game in a minute. So Edson Alvarez comes in. Now I'm going to continue with Souček because he got the second half off against Wolves. He got substituted at halftime at the Molineux. And
so he did.
I'm not suggesting that that's adequate to suggest he's rested up. However, I also don't want to see James Ward-Prowse for this one. So it leaves Souček. While I wouldn't mind it, I've seen in Orford previously, and I would like to see him get more game time. Obviously, a fantastic goal against PSV last week as well. So everything's going well for Lewis Orford. But I just think this is a huge, huge game, this one. And again, it's one eye on Leverkusen. So if Alvarez and Souček perform well, I'm not saying Fulham are compatible to Leverkusen before someone suggests that. I am not saying Palhinha and Lukic is compatible to Xhaka and Palacios. However, as a partnership, let's see what they've got on Sunday. But I'd be looking to possibly introduce Orford at some point in the game for Thomas Souček. Now, because I have a different number 10 to you, we're playing the same formation, but I have a different personnel. Would you like to talk me through your front three? Because we may have the same players, just in a different order.
I could do Antonio Cornet. I almost think there's no choice there. I don't think you can play. Well, you could play Ings if you were going to play a 4-4-2 or something like that. But I don't think you can play Ings as a striker on his own. It wasn't bad when he played that game as number 10, to be fair. I thought he had one of his better games for that, and possibly that might be an option. But I do believe that Moyes is going to be a little bit scarred by the 5-0. So I think we might see Moyes, going a little bit more defensive for this one. I don't mean more defensive than Leverkusen. There is no more. That's as defensive as it gets. We're going to have no shots in this one. I don't think it's that. I think we might get more than one shot in this one. So, but yeah, I think Kudus, Antonio, and Cornet for me.
It's the same players for me. It's just in a slightly different way that you've got them. I would like Kudus in the number 10. It's time to unleash him. Paqueta in the number 10. That number 10 role, and I apply this to every Premier League club, it should be like a privileged position. It's a job where you perhaps don't have the same defensive duties as your other attackers. You're in the middle of the park. You are in the best place possible to influence the game. And I think it should be earned, and I think it has been with Paqueta. But when you're there, I think you've got to sort of justify it by staying there. And I've not been impressed by Paqueta in the last two games against Wolves or Leverkusen. He's annoyed me a considerable amount. It's almost as a punishment. I'm putting him back out on that left-hand side and saying, you go back out on that wing there and think about what you've done. You can back out in there. But also, we ain't got him on Thursday. So I want Kudus in that number 10. I say, this is your chance. This position is up for grabs. You reckon your best position is a number 10. We'll have a Kudus or a number 8. Centrally. You want to be central. Here you go. Here's your opportunity. Show us what you can do. And if he performs well, and I hope he does, and I think he will, he stays there on Thursday night, and we then have a different problem elsewhere in the team because of no Paqueta and no Emerson. I appreciate my whole left side will be decimated, but Kudus in that 10. Paqueta on the left, Antonio up front, Cornet on the right. I agree with you personally. Again, Cornet has to play Thursday. It's him or Ings. One of them have to play on Thursday. And I'm going with Cornet. So I think he has to start on Sunday and put him out on the right-hand side, and let's see what he can do. And hopefully the answer is a goal or an assist or something. But this is where it's sort of like we've got to try something now. On Sunday afternoon, we have to try something without Jarrod Bowen. I don't want to see I'm already hacked off. This might not even happen, Gonzo, but I'm already not looking forward to James Ward-Prowse in the number 10 on Sunday and against Bayer Leverkusen on Thursday. I've got a feeling we're going to see Ward-Prowse ahead of Souček and Alvarez, and I've already got the hump about it. So I want to see Maxwell Cornet in the team, and let's see. But there's an opportunity for a hero at West Ham in the next fortnight, and sometimes it's the one you don't expect.
Yeah.
Andrei Yarmolenko, for example.
Yeah, I just, you know what, I'd be really hacked off if I was the West Ham owner at the moment. I really would. I'd be looking at Cornet. Well, why? It's 17 million pounds, not tuppence. What are you doing? Look at all the wages on Ings, and I'm not going to go historically about all the. Yeah, I'd say he would have bloody the Scamacca. That would have triggered me. Scamacca. I would have seen Scamacca. What? Well, it's not him, is it? It's not Scamacca. He's all right. He's got 5 in the last 5.
It was Scamacca. You could tell by tattoos.
But it's not his fault that he didn't work out at West Ham, right? I mean, looking at it, thinking, hold on, we've taken a £8 million hit on him, and he actually looks to be broke. Why can't you make him work? Do you know what I mean? And I think I'd be looking at all this money lost. I'd be saying, come on, mate, £17 million. But why aren't you? What's going on? So he has to use Cornet. He just has to. It's ridiculous.
Anyway, this video is sponsored by Match Bingo. We've had more winners. We've even had a couple of people email us this week to tell us they won £100 in the game against Wolves last week, which is the full house. So they're the first person to get the full house last week against Wolves. So we've had more winners. We must be approaching 30 winners, and a lot of those winners have had numerous wins on Match Bingo as well. And if you're listening thinking, I'm one of those, please leave it in the comments below, just in case people don't believe us. If you wouldn't mind almost verifying our claim here, that would be much appreciated. Anyway, in regards to Match Bingo, in case you're wondering what the hell is Match Bingo, it's combining the traditional game in Britain with the sport of Britain as well. Bingo with football. You get your bingo card, you get 15 things you need to occur in that game. Now, there's some really easy things. West Ham to take a throw in, Fulham to have a corner, West Ham to take a goal kick, Fulham to have a shot on target, and there's some really difficult ones as well, like West Ham to have a shot off target. That is difficult because we only have one shot, and it might hit the target like it did on Thursday. But you can download the app via the link in the description below, but please do use that link or the one on the pinned comments or the QR code that's on your screen right now so they know you've come from Hammers Chat, so we get credited with your download. It's free to download, it's free to sign up. Now, there is a gambling app, so please do gamble responsibly. The West Ham Fulham game is £2 per card. However, this is the right time to download it because there's a free card for Leeds United against Blackburn. It's a 12:30 game on Saturday. So when you download the app and sign up, click on Saturday and it'll say LEE versus BLA. Free. Click on that, get your free card, and you can work out how to play the app and hopefully win some money. There's also bingos on there, and on Thursday nights you can get free cards for the darts as well. So if you're into the darts, get your free cards for that one. With lots of freebies, get it downloaded. Links in the description below.
Can I just say on that?
Yes.
When you do the free game, it will say confirm purchase. Yeah. It's still a free game. It's not going to take money. If you...
it says free. And also, you don't have to deposit money. You can download it, sign up, and get the free cards without depositing any money. Links below. Right, Gonzo. I think this is still a big game because while obviously all the feeling and focus is around the Leverkusen game, we're still in the European race in the Premier League. And I want a winning momentum to go into the London Stadium on Thursday. We have to win this weekend.
You've referenced it 3 times in this video already about Leverkusen. Clearly, your peck is still slightly up, and you think there's a chance. In many respects, for me, this is the game. This is the game. It's and has been for quite some time. Alongside, obviously, you've got Crystal Palace as well. This is hugely important, and I'm worried. I am far more worried about this game than the Leverkusen game. I'm far more worried about Crystal Palace than I am about the Leverkusen game. There's no doubt about that in my mind. This is huge. This is a really, really important game, and this is where we need to see David Moyes' plan. I'm far more concerned, which I uploaded a video earlier on today, Geo. I'm far more concerned with the deployment or non-deployment of substitutes, the squad management, the size of the squad, and the January window than I am with the tactics against Leverkusen. Far more concerned about it. All right. We sat back. I expected it. That's fine. And that worries me for this. I am really, really worried. David Moyes must have had a plan. Now, the plan could be, I don't think he's just thinking, I'm going to rinse everyone and make them knackered. Maybe there's a fitness plan with it. Maybe he's spoken to his medical team and stuff like that. And there's a way that he can do it. He's chosen to go with his small squad. It has to work now. It absolutely has to work. And I'm very, very worried ahead of this game. This game is a huge game. And I would go as far. Mathematically must win, no, but it's bloody must win.
I've got your score prediction here. I think I know what you're going to go for. I won't show it, obviously. I think I know what you're going to go for. I think it's huge as well. The thing is, I said to you before, and I've said it on a couple of videos, I was not nervous for Leverkusen. I was excited, but I'm really nervous for the league campaign. Sure. There's a lot riding on us. I want European football next season. As soon as we got drawn against Leverkusen, the league became the most likeliest way of us. Last season, the Conference League was always the most likeliest way of us having European football this season. But this time round, it's finishing in a certain position in the Premier League. And that may have just got harder because of Liverpool, Arsenal and West Ham. England's coefficient is now at risk of getting that fifth Champions League spot. We almost need Arsenal to beat Bayern Munich now. We've almost got to root for them a bit.
Which is terrible.
So we're going to have to try and get seventh. We're seventh at the moment. We've got to get this place in order to really get European football next season. And we still need the FA Cup to go our way as well. This is a must win. Before we played Wolves, you said we need 4 wins, and you picked out the 4 games that you think we can win. Wolves was one of them. We won that one. Now we're on to match day 2. This one. We have to win this game. Nothing else will do. We need, when I keep talking about Leverkusen, I just think we need to give ourselves the best chance on Thursday night. And that includes winning on Sunday and also having something in terms of a plan and or player form for those not involved last night that will be involved next week, getting game time against Fulham to even give us a slither of a chance on Thursday night. We have to win, because if we lose on Sunday, that hope gets even less. And if we get put out against Leverkusen, it'll feel like season's over. It might not be, but it'll feel like it. The morale will be low. We beat Fulham, and if we go out against Leverkusen, we've still got something to. The season's not done. We go in next Sunday and go, right, okay, win again. We're back on it. We're back in that European. We're still in the European race. We have to keep our season alive on Sunday, and we need to beat Fulham. A draw is not good enough. It must be a win. This team have got the 5th worst away record in the Premier League. This is despite what happened at Craven Cottage, and I'm willing to accept that sickness excuse. I'm willing to accept that there was a bug and the players were under the weather. I will accept that. But what I won't accept is anything other than 3 points. We have to win. This is a good team to play, all things considered. It's the 5th worst team away from home in the Premier League. There's only 4 teams worse than them. You ain't getting them. This is a good fixture for West Ham at home against a side like Fulham. We have to win. Can I get any final words from yourself, Gonzo, as well as your all-important score prediction, please?
Yeah, okay. Well, I just hope... Well, listen, David Moyes has got to understand it. He's got to understand the gravity of this game. He really does. I'm very nervous. We're going to do a build-up to this game, whatever it is, an hour and 5 minutes before kick-off, 12:55 on Sunday. You're going to ask me how am I feeling. I'm going to say I'm feeling nervous, probably. And I am nervous about it. And I've got very used to European football. Very, very used to it indeed. I want to do it all again next season. I want to go to some European games. I want to go to the colour factory again for the away games. Do you know what I mean? And I want to do it all again. I want to get on the wrong train again on the way home. I want to do all this stuff. Unfortunately, I've got no confidence at all. And for that reason, Geo, is it a bit of paper? You got a bit of paper or something? 1-1.
I wrote it down like 10 minutes ago as well.
Okay, I got yours. It's,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. I'm feeling a little bit more optimistic than Gonzo. I think we will win on Sunday. I think I wasn't impressed with what I've seen against Leverkusen. but that was a lot to do with the tactics. And whilst I think we will be reserved against Fulham, I don't think we'll see that level of parking the bus. My biggest concern is what I said previously, which is I think we might see Ward-Prowse in the number 10 role.
Yeah.
And that, if that happens, I will lower my prediction to a draw like Gonzo. But on the assumption he doesn't do that, and I have my head says he's going to go with Ward-Prowse, I have a gut feeling that he might bring Danny Ings in on Sunday to play behind Mikel Antonio. I don't know why. I've just got this feeling because he knows he's got to do something. He has to do something. And I think we will win 2-1.
Oh,
yeah! Look at that. Brilliant. Right, well.
I am pleased with both of us. Obviously, I prefer your score. Your score is we've been doing this too long, I think. Yeah,
definitely. I think so. Anyway, that's it from us. But we want you guys to get involved in the comments. Let us know the 11 you would like to see. Who cares what Moyes wants to see? Well, we'll talk about it on Sunday. But between now and then, we want to know what you want to see on Sunday. So get your 11s and below. Any big hopes and fears you have, as well as your score prediction. If you're going to the game, enjoy it. If not, we'll be live at 12:55 on Sunday. But if you enjoyed this preview, please do drop a like, click and thumbs up. Helps out the video, helps the channel, makes me and Gonzo very happy. Subscribe if you haven't. Chat myself and Gonzo. See you on Sunday.